episode of Inside the Recording Studio. I am Jody Whitesides, and with me, not usually as always, as this is the very first time we are going to have a guest co-host on the show, and that is Chris and I's good friend, Mr. George Leger. How are you today, George?
I am doing really, really good on this super hot Las Vegas day. It's 100 plus degrees out there already, and it's supposed to hit 110 today.
Yikes.
Nice.
And I just want to let everybody know the reason why George is here in Chris's place is because Chris has taken the next 3 weeks off. He is in Sweden visiting family. And on top of that, he's doing a little extra music work over there while he's there. But we are here with you today, and George has a topic that he would like to express is the latest Logic Pro 11 update. George, take it away.
Okay, well, let's go over the basics of what it actually is.
Okay.
Apple announced Logic Pro 11 update, and it includes a number of new things. The first thing is what are called session players, which are their new AI-based performers.
Sweet.
They have 3 of them. The drums, which we already experienced before, but it's been redone and rewritten, so it's different than it used to be. Bass and piano.
3 very important things to a lot of songwriters.
Absolutely. The drums have all been remixed. So when you load up a drum kit now, they sound better. They have new processing on with some of the additional things we're going to talk about, Chroma Glow specifically. Anyway, so each comes with a new instrument. So drums come with a new drum kit. Bass comes with 5 different basses. Piano comes with 4 or 5 different pianos now. So
Sweet.
We have a bunch of new models as well.
When you say that, and you're saying it comes with these new basses and new pianos, those are 2 new actual performers all together.
Yeah.
And when you say basses, are you referring to like make and model or just amplifiers? What is it on the bass that's there?
They're all new different basses. So when you load in here, you'll see there's a classic bass,
Which
60s
looks like
bass.
it looks kind of like a Fender P bass or something.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what it is. And when you change them, there's a
the
Beatles
Hofner
bass.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, it's loading different models of basses. So that's cool. The same thing with the piano, I assume.
Yeah. The thing, though, that you're going to notice about these basses, especially once you start to work with them, is the amount of articulations they have make for a much more realistic performance. I mean, there are literally 15, 20 different
Looks like
articulations.
it's at least 20 right there, yeah.
Right. So you have, hammer-ons now, dead notes, slide fast, medium, slow, slide by velocity, grace notes, different fingerings that you can choose.
Sweet.
Excellent. It's really, really amazing. And when you take it and you play it, it's just what it does is.
And that's the Hofner bass,
Very
by the
simple.
way, that we're listening to right now. Cool, man.
Slap bass is the one I really like.
There it is.
There it is.
That's some slap bass right there.
Yeah. So if you need slap bass, you now have slap bass. You have all sorts of different options that you can choose from. They have pop rock bass, retro rock bass, pop songwriter bass, roots upright bass, indie disco bass, disco slap bass, modern R&B, and modern Motown. So you have 8 different choices.
And a bunch of different basses to choose, yeah.
Right. And you have a whole bunch of different basses to choose from. So that's a huge upgrade. The next thing to talk about is the piano. Now, the AI on the piano is particularly impressive. It is amazing what you can get this to perform for you. It literally allows you to choose left hand, right hand. With the left hand, you can choose all sorts of different voicings, root only, root octave, root and fifth, root fifth and octave. You can change your voicing on your right hand to be full chord, partial chords, 2 voices, 3 voices, 4 voices, etc., etc. There's a lot of options here. You have different styles: sustain, simple, moderate, complex, follow right hand, and steady 8ths for styles. And in movement, you got minimal range, small range, medium range, and large range. So what all these things do is they allow your performance to be either big and wide over, say 3 octaves, or just a little tiny thing, just choosing to hold all your chords within 1 octave. You can choose to do the left hand only, the right hand only. And then we have details in here, which is our second one, which adds grace notes. So we can add more grace notes to our performance. We have feel, where we can push and pull the feel. So it's pushing the track or pulling it back. We can add or subtract more dynamics. And we can finally humanize it.
Sweet. The other thing that it's got is it's got multiple pianos as well. So you've got like grand.
Absolutely, yeah. You have 3 different patches of piano here. You have a vintage upright, a studio grand, a concert grand, and a studio grand with 1 mic.
Cool.
So you have all these, and they do sound really, really good. The studio ground in particular sounds amazing. They also come now with the ability to choose, depending on the model. One of them only has 1 mic, but most of them have 3 different mics with faders and on-off switches, so you can change the overall timbre of your piano as well. You can add piano noise or pedal noise, key noise, release samples, and sympathetic resonances. So you can make this piano sound more realistic or less realistic. You can add all sorts of stuff to it or make it the most basic sound that you want. So that's the piano. The piano can also, now one of the things I've been discovering as I've been working with this is the piano AI is really good for creating guitar parts.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but okay.
Yeah, because all you have to do is... It's not the best example.
What plugin are you using to create that guitar sound that you're playing right there?
I'm doing 2. One is called Real Strat.
Okay.
And Real Strat is by Music Lab.
Okay.
Music Lab makes amazing emulations of guitars.
Okay.
They're fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic. I love their models. And their models come with all sorts of stuff as well. You've got all sorts of different performance things. I could literally take this and turn it into mutes. So let's do that.
Cool. Sounds pretty wild, but let's stick to Logic.
Okay.
The other thing with these AI players, as far as I know, they work in conjunction with another new feature that is put back in Logic that used to be in Logic and was taken out, and that is a chord track.
Absolutely. That's what I was actually just going to get to next. The chord track used to be, you'd select your main key for the track, and then you'd enter chords, and the Apple loops would follow along. Because Apple loops are kind of plasticky, and you can take it and you can tell it to play a different chord or different things just by changing the chord track. So anyways, they removed the chord track for a while.
Yep.
Now it's back and it works with these loops. Let me show you an example of how that works. If you don't load a chord track, it just plays this. Nice straight little groove. But then as soon as you add your chord tracks in, everything follows the chord tracks. So now the chords we have are following the chords in the chord track. You can add chords to a Logic project and have the session players in the project follow the chords, playing in sync harmonically. When you edit the chords, the session players' performances change to reflect your edits.
That's pretty
That's
badass.
how it works. Very, very,
It's kind of like having an
cool.
on-the-fly arranger in your studio.
It's
and
amazing.
Studio guys that are able to read charts like no tomorrow.
Yeah, and you can push parts, and the ability to add your own feel, pushes, et cetera, to the chord arrangements, and then have your tracks follow them. It works perfectly. I've been sitting down reworking a tune that I have just for fun, using the new stuff to see what kind of an arrangement I could get out of it. So I programmed in all the chords and all the pushes and stuff, and then I whipped it up and played it. Well, it wasn't perfect. The piano part that I generated, I'm going to use.
Sweet.
Because it's amazing. It's perfect. I got to program it to do exactly what I wanted to do, which was fantastic. A couple of more upgrades that came with the new Logic thing that I want to talk about. First one is called Chroma Glow. Use the Chroma Glow saturation plugin to add warmth and vintage character to your mixes by simulating analog audio hardware and overdriven circuits. You can choose from 5 saturation models to create both modern and vintage saturation. They use it on every preset now.
Wow.
It's funny.
So
it's
they
like you're
love
going to
it.
go in and there it is right at the end, Chroma Glow of the bass.
Yep.
There it is in the piano. So all the new stuff has chroma glow attached. So they're all going through this now, and it's very subtle. Here, let me see here.
The question I guess I have is, do you know whether or not Apple has decided to say that this is a emulation of tape-based stuff, or is it some sort of tube preamp type thing?
It's more like a tube preamp type thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got retro tube, modern tube, magnetic squeeze, and analog preamp as far as our models go. Okay. So as best I can tell, they're based on amplifier circuits, not tape-based circuits.
Magnetic amplifier?
It says magnetic. Maybe magnetic stands for tape.
That might be a tape one, yeah.
Apple won't tell you.
Right.
But that may well be tape. I don't know. Probably the best way to tell would be to go through some presets and find a preset that says tape.
Okay.
Basically, to go through this for a little bit, Chroma Glow allows you to add distortion, emulations, and stuff to your track so that it can sound more edgy and aggressive. And not even that. Some of these are subtle. So what they're adding is so...
harmonic character.
It's just a tiny little bit of an edge. I mean, here, let me actually do it and turn it way up.
That's the distortion right there. You're pushing it.
Yeah. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's the new saturation plugin. And the other one I want to go over, I'm not going to go over very long, is the stem splitter. Now what you can do in Logic with an M series or silicon-based processing unit, you have to have a newer computer to do this. Stem splitter can separate a stereo audio file such as a band recording into stems for vocals, bass, drums, and other instrumental parts, and use the individual stems on different tracks in your project. That's how they describe it.
Well, RX has that as well from Isotope.
Yeah.
So
I use a program called RipX.
Okay.
That does it. And RipX is actually way more complex than the Logic one. And RipX can do about 7 or 8 parts.
Wow.
Yeah, it can pull them all apart. It's just been really, really great. It usually does drums, bass, keyboards, guitars, other lead vocals and background vocals. Wow. Or no, vocals are vocals.
Okay.
So vocals go into the vocals.
Sure.
But it splits out the guitar and the piano and the bass, basically. So it splits your arrangement out a lot more detail than the Logic one does. That's RipX.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep. One of the last things I want to talk about really quickly is called Round Trip. Okay. And what Round Trip does is Round Trip allows you to take your Logic sessions from your Mac to your iPad. Logic Pro now runs Logic Pro 2 for the iPad. Is completely compatible with Logic 11. Sessions can go back and forth. So if you want to write in your iPad, you're out in the wilderness somewhere and you got your iPad and you're super inspired and you create a piece of music, then you can bring it home, literally transfer your file into iCloud, and then from iCloud load it into Logic Pro and pick up and carry on. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
What I wanted to do was to get into a little bit more of the detail about the session players.
Okay.
Bass player and keyboard player join drummer to provide a set of session players you can use to create professional, nuanced performances that are in sync with each other and responsive to your control. Each session player's performance can be edited using a variety of performance controls, and all can follow common chord progressions to deliver realistic musical interplay. Bass player provides a set of bass players. Keyboard player provides a set of keyboard players. So those are the two new ones. They've revamped Drummer with the same new interface. So Drummer has the new interface that the Studio Bass and Studio Piano plugins have.
Okay.
Studio Bass contains 6 newly recorded bass models inspired by the bass guitars found in countless recordings with intuitive controls for palm mutes, articulations, and more. The Studio Piano plugin contains 3 newly recorded piano models with multi-microphones, volume adjustment, and controls for pedal noise, key noise, and sympathetic resonance. The Studio Bass and Studio Piano plugins are optimized for use with session players, but they can also be played and recorded independently or used just like other instrumental plugins. So that's really, really cool. The next thing is the global chord track. You can add chords to a Logic Pro project and have the session players in the project follow the chords, playing in sync harmonically. When you edit the chords, the session player performances change to reflect your edits. The session player regions can have their own chords, allowing the region to play when no chords exist on the chord track, or to play different chord extensions, scales, and fills from regions following the chord track.
So out of curiosity,
That sounds really confusing.
It does sound a little confusing.
All that I was going to say is the thing about Logic now is you can take a track and you can have the chord track play, or you can have its own chord tracks play, or you can have no chords tracks play over the individual loop. So you have way more options than you used to have with this new chord stuff.
Gotcha.
Many Apple loops also contain chords, and many Apple loops are designed to be used together to share compatible chords. Apple loops containing chords are indicated by a glyph in the key column in the loop browser. So that's that.
Okay. One of the questions,
questions?
I had a question that popped in my head as you were explaining the chord track thing. With the Motown player, and I don't know because I haven't actually played around with the new version of Logic. I've been busy doing a remixing project. My question is, if you load up the Motown dude, can he do chromatic runs like the Motown guys used to do?
Well, let's see. Here's our bass player. Let's move our little region over here and let's see exactly what goes on. It says modern Motown, so we'll have to see what that means versus the other one.
Modern Motown sounds like a misnomer because Motown really hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah, for a long time. So, okay, so here's what we got.
Yep, he is. Okay, that answers that question. That's cool. That's very cool.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, we have all these different things. Bass player, you can change all your types. Oh, by the way, the drums also have 3 different players. They have an acoustic drummer, an electronic drummer, and a percussionist. So technically you have 5.
Okay. So they took
5
out all
different
the
AI.
different players that they had in the previous version of Logic Drummer. Drummer was previously, or at least the version that I still have because I have not yet updated, they had style, and then within each style, they had 4 or 5 different players within that style.
Right. Well, we have style, and now they have presets.
Okay.
So, yes, it's the same thing. We have our main style, and then we have presets. So let me show you, for example. This is a straight drummer. Then we have different presets. So let me try them. This is Aurora. Clockwise. Diary.
Gotcha.
And you can hear they're completely
Yeah, they changed the character. Yeah.
totally different. It's like, and then the other thing I wanted to mention in the drummer. Okay, let's talk about the drummer AI for a little bit. Basically, you have all these different drummers. You have a complexity slider that changes the complexity of the part, so you can make it like, or bring it down to nothing. Can change the intensity so the beats are harder or softer. Then what we have here are a lot of different options. We have one with different patterns. Go from a straight 4/4 pattern. Now let me turn up the complexity here. Okay. Where was I? Right. So then we have different patterns. So we have 8 different basic patterns that we can choose from to change our basic sound. We can follow the rhythm of the chords or any track that we have. Or if we want, we can make our own custom manual beat. So I want to go boom, tick, boom, 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 tick. So that's what I wanted to do. Boom, tick, boom, boom, tick. So I just programmed in the manual program and it should go. So not only can you use their AI, you can custom program your own beats and then use their AI to make your beats individual.
More human? Yeah, a little more human.
More human, more complex, whatever you want to do, you can do now. Mainly because of the manual. The manual mode means any programming that it does that you don't like, well, whatever, I want my own beat. You program in your own beat and off you go. That is amazing stuff. In the details of the drummer, we have the ability to change our snare hits from center to automatic, rim shot, side stick, or tom. We have the ability to add extra percussion, ghost notes, which are really cool.
Well, that's what tends to make things sound more like a human, because humans tend to ghost a lot of things.
Yep. The funny thing, when I was programming drums a lot, I usually would edit out.
You would
all
edit
the
out
ghost
the ghost
notes.
notes? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. because I just wanted to hear the beat.
Sure.
And the music that I was programming, the ghost notes weren't really helping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they do, but they don't. Sometimes they just add more muck.
Yep.
Lots of ghost notes. You can tell which cymbals you want it to hit, so that if you're doing a ride, you know, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 cymbal thing, you can hit a different cymbal between your ride cymbal, ride bell, ride crash 1 or crash 2. Mm-hmm. And again, you have the same thing with the field dynamics and humanize, so you can do all that stuff. So the bottom line is all these 3 new AI-based players are a great beginning of AI. I'm sure over time these are going to get to be way more complex than they are right now, because this is literally, I guess this would be the 2nd generation AI in Logic, because the first one was just the drummer.
There is that, yes.
Yeah, so now they have this drummer, which is more advanced. And with the additional players that we have.
Bass and piano, yes. It's pretty
That's
crazy.
all I have to offer. That's my list.
Of what you like about Logic Pro 11?
What I love about Logic Pro 11.
What you love about it. All right. Well, let's move on to our Friday finds. George, what have you got for us this week?
Well, I'm going to stick with Logic Pro 11 because I think Logic Pro 11 is the most advanced and best developed product to be released in the last month, at least.
In the last month? In terms of songwriting, producing, what?
Everything.
In terms of
everything. Literally, the new Logic update transforms Logic in a significant way forward than where it was. Oh. Anybody who runs Logic really should get it. And the other thing I have to recommend is if you don't have an M series CPU, grab yourself a computer. I recommend personally to go to the M2 series, not the M4 or M3, because you can save a ton of money. And I, for example, have a MacBook Pro. So I have a MacBook Pro with 32 gigabytes of memory and a terabyte SSD. This particular computer has 8 performance cores. Now, what Logic only uses the performance cores, by the way, people. So if you have a new computer, the newer M4 CPUs have more efficiency cores and less performance cores. So as the CPU power is going up, they're adding less of these cores that Logic can actually access. So I would recommend you try and find yourself an M2 MacBook Pro with the same specs as mine. This computer is going to last me at least the next 5 to 10 years. Wow. It is so much more powerful than any computer that I have ever run. It's quiet. I've only heard the fan go on once in the year plus that I've owned this thing. So
crazy.
Yep. Anyways. Right.
And now for my Friday find this week, I'm going to talk about the Dolby Atmos renderer. They just released an update for, I believe it's version 5.3. Now that I've been finishing up a 7-album remixing project, and I'm moving forward knowing that some of the remixes now are going to go into Atmos and 360 RA mixes, I've been delving into that. And let's just say it's not as simplistic as you'd make it out to be, or at least you would think it would be. It took me 2 days to get a Dolby Atmos mix to render properly so that it would show up as spatial audio in someone else's device and headphones. That was really difficult. So I'm going to say that Dolby Atmos Renderer 5.3 is my Friday find of this week. And I am just starting to scratch the surface of Atmos mixes. And then within about a month, I'm going to be dealing with 360 RA mixes as well.
Well, the nice thing about the new Logic Pro update is they actually did upgrade that stuff too.
Cool. That's good to
know.
know.
The Atmos stuff has been upgraded and works pretty good now.
Sweet.
Still not totally perfect. I mean, but you can now bounce out an Atmos mix with all the proper encoding and everything in it.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of our new options is save as.
Okay, cool.
Bounce.
Export, bounce, or bounce or export. Got it.
Yeah. File format. You pick your file format and you can do it. Where is it? Surround bounce is one of our options.
Nice.
Now. Yeah.
While we've got your attention, we ask that you go to InsideTheRecordingStudio.com and sign up for our mailing list. You'll need to be on our email list in order to be eligible for any future giveaways, and we'll make sure you don't miss any future episodes of this awesome podcast. Send us an email at goldstar, GOLDSTAR, at InsideTheRecordingStudio.com with the word Logic 11. That's actually not a word, that's a phrase. And you'll get something cool back in your inbox. If you have a topic or suggestion for Chris and I to explain in a future episode, contact us at the contact page and we'll put it into consideration for a future episode. With that, I'll say see you next week.
Have a good one, everybody.